Good morning and welcome to Farm Factor. I'm your host, Jamie Bloom. Kyle Bauer is at Kansas State's Risk and Profit Conference, and he talks with economist Dan O'Brien about the predicted corn shortage and what that would mean for buyers and sellers. Next up is the Kansas Soybean update. Then we join Duane as he talks with Jerod Moyer about their operation and what changes they have made over the years to improve the health and profitability of their cattle. We'll also learn what's going on around the state with the Kansas Farm Bureau update. And then on Plain Talk, Kyle and Duane talk about college textbooks. Stay tuned.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.
For the 15th annual Fall Bull Sale at Gardner Angus Ranch, Monday, September 30th at 9 a.m., featuring approximately 450 registered bulls, 160 registered females, including 35 cows and 125 heifers, and 300 bred commercial females. These are elite herd sire prospects and rank in the top percentiles of the Angus breed for calving ease, growth, and end product merit. Catalog will be available at GardnerAngus.com. Register for online bidding at liveauction.tv. It's business as usual, producing value-added seed stock that provides opportunities for profitability regardless of our customers' chosen marketing endpoint. See you in September at the ranch.
I had this horse. It was a good horse, except for when the wind was blowing above 30 miles an hour. Wind was blowing about 35, 40, and I saddled him up, rode him out to the end of the lane, and I thought, well, he's doing pretty good. And about 6 jumps later, I was laying on the ground and thinking, boy, my shoulder sure hurt. I kept waiting, and it didn't get better, and so I went to an orthopedic surgeon, and that showed that I had torn rotator cuff. He said, well, we'll have to do surgery. I farm and ranch by myself. This is not going to work out very well. I'd been sleeping in my recliner for about 2.5 years because it hurt too much to sleep in bed on my side. I'd heard about Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center on the radio. Gotten down there at 8 o'clock in the morning, and by 11:30 the procedure was all over. They just took some fat out of my side here and spun that down for about 45 minutes and then injected it in my shoulders, and I was on my way. It's something you don't hear about, but I thought it was worth a try, and I'm really pleased. It's really worked out well for me.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or for more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome to Farm Factor. Kyle Bauer is at the Risk and Profit Conference with K-State economist Dan O'Brien.
Hi, this is Kyle Bauer. I got an opportunity to visit with Dan O'Brien at the Risk and Profit Conference at Kansas State University. Dan, of course, is an ag economist with Kansas State University, and we want to talk corn right now. As I listened to your talk, Dan, that was where I was the most startled because of the potential of corn going up.
Yes, when you crunch through the numbers on what final U.S. harvested acres are, and that's after all these adjustments that'll inevitably have to be made for cover crops, for more silage than normal, and for all the muddy pockets and issues that have to be dealt with back in those eastern states and some states to the north. USDA's projection for planted was about a little over 90 million acres. We're probably going to end up 88.5. Lower than normal harvested to planted acres. Figure probably 88% lowest in at least 10, 15 years, given all these issues. So you're looking at 79 some million acres harvested. Yields. We've got both the USDA number came in at 169.5. We've had different crop tours that are out there now that have come in consistently, sharply lower than that, and looking at numbers 165, 163, thereabouts for a national yield on average. Dan, as you and I have talked, it's kind of a classic east versus west corn belt. In fact, maybe it's a western corn belt versus north and east because they've got problems all the way through many of those states. And what I've talked about by the time I crunch numbers, there's a significant chance that the USDA's figure of 13.9 billion bushels is probably could end up at 12.5 to 12.9, and that's a billion or more off the off the market. You have some rationing of usage and all that, but USDA projected 360. We crunch back to that and still maintain 1.5 to 1.25 billion bushels stocks. You're looking at 405 to 450, something like that for corn prices. So if that works out, that would be a shock to the corn market and would reverberate to these other grain markets too.
And you mentioned the East versus West, and it really appears that Kansas specifically and probably Nebraska will have very good crops. But with Illinois being short and your numbers showing planting dates and maturities and frost dates appeal that it's very difficult for Illinois to raise a reasonable crop, the basis is going to be really odd this year.
Well, and it's in those eastern Corn Belt states, one thing that stands out that we talked about this morning was the basis bids at ethanol plants, not just level, 60, 70 cents over the September contract. And you could say, well, gosh, maybe that's farmers just holding off and trying to get the best that they can. But I think it's just as much, if not more, those ethanol plants looking around the landscape and saying, we don't have a lot of corn coming, so we better get what we can right now. And 70, 80 cent basis bid over is a pretty strong basis bid.
Well, and it's just so odd. But, a lot of people in Kansas are corn buyers, not sellers. As I listened, I thought, gosh, if I have a need for a lot of corn over the next year, 6 months, this is probably the best they're going to do over the next year.
Buyers are at risk in this scenario, and get exacerbated if we don't have a normal or late fall. An early fall, that the corn supply number just gets worse. So buyers of grain are at risk. They're motivated by buying reasonably priced grain, and what's coming in the next several months as we keep working through these USDA reports. And the actualities of harvest they're posing a much greater than normal risk to them of prices moving higher. Of course, the sellers they call that opportunity, but the buyers, that's a risk.
We're visiting with Dan O'Brien with Kansas State University. We've been talking corn and the potential for the next year. This is Kyle Bauer reporting.
Thanks, Kyle. Folks, come back after these messages for this week's Kansas Soybean Update.
Clyde Sutton, Nest City, Kansas. Lived on this place all my life. About a year and a half ago, got to where I couldn't saddle a horse. The pain was terrible. Read about stem cell. First it wasn't for me, then they started doing neck and back. Went and had it done. As you can see, I saddled a horse. I'm still building fence. Love to shoot a shotgun rifle, and I'm able to participate, not like I used to, but nevertheless I can do the things I used to do, and life is good.
This segment brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Welcome back to Farm Factor and the Kansas Soybean Update.
This is the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Natalie Harris, a junior at Kansas State University. She is from Abilene, joins us. And she was one of the interns with Kansas Soybeans this summer. And Natalie, what were some of your duties serving with the Kansas Soybeans this summer as an intern?
Well, I worked really heavily with the social media pages, coming up with content to promote the different byproducts and uses of soybeans in consumers' everyday life, and really interacting with consumers and influencers through those pages, and then also putting together some of our bigger projects like our congressional report, coordinating with my fellow intern, coordinating some stuff for our tour, and then attending Camp Biodiesel.
I'm sure that interaction was fun, not only via social media, but just talking with with soybean growers across the state.
Yes. No, it was a lot of fun getting to interact, especially with some either commodity groups or different organizations that are also on social media, and getting to kind of banter back and forth and promote our product. What
kind of message on social media did you try to portray or try to get out there to consumers?
I just tried to get it out there that there's, soy in a lot of different products. And so, even some things that they might not even realize contain soy, and just really pushing the fact that it's sustainable and it's good for us.
As far as the interaction, looking at the congressional report, you kind of see some of the inner workings of what the soybean industry does to get that message not only to consumers but to Congress as well?
Yep. It was definitely one thing that I really enjoyed about this summer was getting to see all of that statistical data. I grew up on a farm, so, I mean, you see one side of an operation, but being able to really see the whole impact of agriculture in the state of Kansas was a really awesome thing to put together.
What would you like to do in the future?
For sure want to stay within the agriculture industry and work around people, getting to either talk to farmers, producers, or even just consumers. If
others are interested in an internship like this, what makes this so inviting to become an intern with Kansas Soybeans?
I think it's a really great experience. I definitely looked forward to the summer at the beginning of summer, and it was really good. I would definitely encourage anyone who's wanting to intern with Kansas Soybean to definitely, take a chance on it, and you'll get to work with a lot of great people and just get to promote agriculture.
Natalie, we appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Yep, thank you.
That's Natalie Harris from Abilene, who will be a junior at Kansas State University. She joins us on the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Learn more at kansassoybeans.org. For Kansas Soybeans, I'm Greg Akagi.
Hope you enjoyed this week's Kansas Soybean Update. Coming up next, Duane Taves talks with Jerod Moyer about what improvements they have made on their operation over the years.
Sure Crop Fertilizers was started by my father, Don Sherman, and my mother, Shirley Sherman. Family business that started in the 80s. We predominantly focus on plant nutrients and what we can do to give growers better responses with the fertilizer dollars that they do, and what we can do to make those things work better for the grower. We're based out of Seneca, Kansas. We work with growers in their soil analysis to figure out what they need, and then we can put those in a blend that gives them the best results, and so that we can deliver that direct to their farm so that they have those nutrients where they need them, when they need them, and so that they can apply them in a manner that's very efficient to them and works well on their planting systems and what they're doing. Sure Crop Fertilizers has been around for a long time. We always say we're big enough to take care of everything you need, but we're small enough to do it quickly. You can get a hold of us at 1-800-635-4743. Our website is surecropfertilizers.com, and you can always email me at Corey@surecropfertilizers.com, and with any questions you have, we'll be glad to answer and work with you.
Kim Mannering with Hardy Insurance. Today we will talk about employee safety and work comp coverage. On your farm, do you ask your friends to come help? Are they considered employees or neighbors helping neighbors? Did you know that you can be held responsible just as if it's a work comp accident? Give me a call, we can discuss. 316-945-6733.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
This segment brought to you by Sure Crop, liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
We're back. Now Duane Taves talks with Jerod Moyer about their cattle operation.
Duane Taves joining you once again on Ag AM in Kansas, and an opportunity to catch up with Jerod Moyer, north of Emporia, Kansas, here at the ranch. And Jerod, an opportunity to talk a little bit about your operation and some of the changes that you've made through the years. Certainly in the middle of the Flint Hills, grass cattle a big part of a lot of operations around here.
And they are a large part of our operation, Duane. And actually, where they become a large part is we start a lot of calves that later go on out to grass in the Flint Hills, and have done that for several years. Part of that has come about as the last 7 years or so, we've done more customer cattle in working with people we knew in the business, as well as new people that we meet all the time, helping them start those calves to go to the Flint Hills, as well as to wheat pasture and onto the feedlot.
Such a big part of the cattle industry, bringing cattle in really from around the U.S., getting them straightened out and ready to go to grass, and then take advantage of a year like this when we've had ample moisture and plenty of forage.
Yeah, what a difference a year makes. You know, I think I was talking to a neighbor that a year ago we already had all the corn silage, if you call it that, corn stover, already put in the pit and covered up. And now, boy, it's just still green and growing. And grass, it's a blessing to see it this green in August. And but we'll take it after the struggles we saw last year. Don't know if we want to live through another winter like we had a year back last winter, but we'll just wait and see what brings it.
Talk a little bit about your health management program. Obviously, when we bring calves in and get them commingled or hauled from a distance, we try and do what we can to make sure that they get the start and get their feet underneath them.
I think for us, a lot of it is the simple things, getting good feed into them, getting rest and things before we come in and process them really help them a lot. And then we have just a great group of products that companies are providing us to help improve the health of these cattle. Because of that long haul, a lot of times stress of weaning, etc. And we're here just to help comfort them through that process and get them to know what a feed bunk is and how good Kansas living is.
I understand that some producers are looking at using some grass traps or a little bit more exercise for those calves instead of keeping them so tight. Is that something you've incorporated as well?
It is. About half of our capacity is grass traps, or what we'd call, and that's just a small 15 to 25, whoever's definition you go to. On our operation, 15 to 25 acre grass area. We have both cool season as well as warm season grasses that we use in those. And we've just found it a very positive for the health of the cattle. Sometimes just getting them out, letting them have some exercise. And boy, if a calf can put his nose into something green any time of year, it just really helps their health, we think.
As far as that custom work, obviously we think about utilizing your resources. Was that kind of the main goal in that you had excess capacity?
It was, and actually where we looked at it was from the risk management side. Actually several years ago when, we were seeing tremendous margins and, when feeder cattle were selling well up into $2 plus, one evening I kind of said, I've been in this long enough, I know this may not last, that we started looking at how we can manage some of that risk. And so it came down, I could either visit with a broker or people in Chicago or talk to other cattlemen. And the numbers for our operation worked out about the same. And so we've really brought in some of that customer base to help us manage our risk and let them manage their own.
Well, our thanks to Jerod Moyer joining us on Ag AM in Kansas. Jamie, we'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Duane. Come back after the break for this week's Kansas Farm Bureau update.
What if sustainability were synonymous with U.S. soy? If energy efficiency, water quality, and soil health help define U.S. soy's value, that future is here, the time is now. To meet end-user demands, the Soybean Checkoff is committing to sustainability that's achievable, worthwhile, and enduring. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source, together we grow.
For the 15th annual Fall Bull Sale at Gardner Angus Ranch, Monday, September 30th at 9 a.m., featuring approximately 450 registered bulls, 160 registered females, including 35 cows and 125 heifers, and 300 bred commercial females. These are elite herd sire prospects and rank in the top percentiles of the Angus breed for calving ease, growth, and end product merit. Catalog will be available at GardnerAngus.com. Register for online bidding at liveauction.tv. It's business as usual, producing value-added seed stock that provides opportunities for profitability regardless of our customers' chosen marketing endpoint. See you in September at the ranch.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or for more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to Farm Factor and the Kansas Farm Bureau Update.
Well, I have been following Kansas Farm Bureau. I get the KFB weekly newsletter and just kind of following what issues are coming up for our farmers in Kansas. And so when I saw the opportunity to do this 3-day tour, I was very excited, signed up for it. And these past 3 days have been quite a learning and has really opened my eyes to what really a farmer endures. You know, a farmer has to be a meteorologist, they have to be a biologist, they have to be a veterinarian. I think a lot of people, especially like myself from a city, doesn't really realize all the things that a farmer has to endure. And I think also, I was seeing too, as some of our older farmers that have been here and have been doing farming for years and years and years, and for them to experience and see these new innovative approaches on, you know, measuring water through K-State Extension and the different experiments and the different types of wheat and you know, recreating different foods so that people who usually would get sick from food think it's quite an evolution. I think this is really missing in our school systems, not only in rural Kansas but in the city, and I'd love to see that change, and I hope to be part of that change agent and let everyone experience this experiential learning that I was able to be a part of. And I just want to thank Farm Bureau and congratulate them on their many years of service.
Stay with us. We'll be back after the break with Plain Talk.
Kim Mannering with Hardy Insurance. Today we will talk about umbrella coverage. Did you know that if your cattle get out, you could be held liable for that? Call me. Let's have a discussion. 316-945-6733.
You don't have to be a farmer or rancher to become a Kansas Farm Bureau member. Anyone can join. As a member, you'll get discounts on things like hotels and entertainment, health and wellness services, cell phone plans, and more. You'll also strengthen the lives of your fellow Kansans and help build strong, prosperous communities through agriculture advocacy and education. Join us today. Visit kfb.org/join to learn more.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
Join us for the 15th annual Fall Bull Sale at Gardner Angus Ranch, Monday, September 30th at 9 a.m., featuring approximately 450 registered bulls, 160 registered females, including 35 cows and 125 heifers, and 300 bred commercial females. These are elite herd sire prospects and rank in the top percentiles of the Angus breed for calving ease, growth, and end product merit. Catalog will be available at GardnerAngus.com. Register for online bidding at liveauction.tv. It's business as usual, producing value-added seed stock that provides opportunities for profitability regardless of our customers' chosen marketing endpoint. See you in September at the ranch.
Kansas Corn reminds you that E15 fuel is the right choice for every kind of driver. For the car enthusiast, E15 has higher octane. For the thrifty driver, E15 is priced lower than regular unleaded. For the nature lover, E15 provides cleaner air. For the shopper who buys local, E15 has more ethanol from our Kansas corn farms. Choose E15 for a higher octane, lower price, cleaner American fuel. Message from the Kansas Corn Commission. Learn more at kscorn.com.
This segment brought to you by Santa Fe Trail Meats in Overbrook. Let us help feed your family.
Welcome back. Kyle and Duane are up next on Plain Talk, and today they're discussing college textbooks.
Hi, this is Kyle Bauer with Plain Talk, from the guy who understands that when it comes to bookstores, 10% of their clients buy 90% of their books. Duane Taves.
Well, yeah, unless it's a college town.
See, that was exactly what I thought. The only bookstores I've ever been in
buying
books
for
college.
class.
You know, may I tell you something that's controversial?
It's a free world.
It's a free world, and our editor might not mind. I think it's something that should be talked about is how much they charge college students for books.
Mhm.
I think the prices on those books are
Exorbitant, in my opinion.
exorbitant past the point of logical, reasonable, and something that should be just say, well, sure, that book is worth $200.
Yeah.
Really?
How about the class that you have a professor who wrote the book
Then requires the
and
book.
requires the book,
And the book is $200.
and the book is $200, and I'm curious as to what percentage of that he gets.
Well, that honestly, nobody ever talks about that. But when I was in college, and I understand everybody doesn't think that there's relevance since I rode a buggy to school. But, I mean, it was about $100 a semester. And if you had some lab classes, sometimes you would
Sure.
have some that were a little more because you had some expendables. But perfectly honestly, I bought almost all my books used because those books would get used for many, many semesters. And so I would go to the bookstore and I'd spend hours buying these books because I looked for the guy who had traded one in the semester before that highlighted about the same as I would.
I was going to say.
And it's like, and you could find, if you look through about a dozen of them, you could find that guy that had highlighted about all the right
About the
places.
same stuff that you'd highlight.
The right places. And then I would buy them. I would have paid a little extra for that book, but no need to. And, but truly, I bet almost every semester I only had to buy one new book. All the others were used.
And still...
And it was $100, but that was half a dozen books. You know, that wasn't that big a deal. But today, it's just crazy how much they have. And yet...
You can wrap up close... I mean, I know people that wrap up nearly $1,000.
That's what I've understood.
In books for a semester.
And I understand that many, many times they aren't worth much to resell them.
No, about 20%.
20%. Yeah, on a $1,000 investment. Yeah.
Right.
It was in the old days, it was about half. Well, if I bought them used and then sold them used, well, and then quite honestly, most everybody got to use that money when you sold your books at the end of the semester.
Right.
To go out for a little end of semester party.
Celebration.
Yeah, exactly right. So,
now, when you're like $200 plus to the negative, it's not nearly as much fun to do that.
Yeah, and on student loans, it seemed like it was free money. Everybody's come to realize that. By the way, I heard a rule of thumb on the student loan thing.
What's that?
The amount of student loans you should end up with at the end of your college career should be equal to what you expect to make your first year out of college. I thought, that sounds reasonable.
Well, at least that's a logical place to start.
Thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Jamie Bloom, and I hope you enjoyed today's show. See you next week on Farm Factor.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.